So let's paint a fir tree. Now the first thing we're going to do is the sky, and I'm using phthalo blue and alizarin crimson, and I'm mixing up a weak mix of both of them, and I'm just going to do stripes across the paper like that. I might make this a bit redder. So my main light source is here. And then just have to wait a little. Maybe that's too watery. So dry that up. Then get a bit of blue, bit of red. I want it a little purple, dark purple, that will do. And then let's try this. So because this is a thicker mix, although it's going to spread, hopefully it's not going to spread too much. And I'm just going to do a few marks like that, and really that should be enough. Maybe, okay, I'm contradicting myself, but just a tiny bit more in this corner. So this is a thick mix now, thickish, so it doesn't spread too much. And there we go. There's the sky. So maybe I played with that a bit too much, but that's okay. Now I'm going to do a mountain. So I'm going to make this very weak mix or watery mix, and yeah, this will be okay. And just check that. Yeah, maybe a little bit stronger, a little bit bluer. And very simple, roughly like a kind of M shape, irregular M shape. There we go. And then it's going to fade as it comes down, so just loads of water, dab it on the rag because don't want it dripping over the painting because it will damage the sky. And then you see how I start below the paint and then work up and blend in, just blend it in like that. Maybe go up a bit into that, up and down a bit, because we don't want this this change to be too harsh. We want it to be lovely, soft, gradually changing. There we go. And we leave that now to dry. So now we're going to paint a fir tree, and we have to think about the fir tree will begin maybe about here, come down to here, and then we're going to have grass here and some rocks. So here we go. So fir tree has to be quite a strong mix. It's going to be the focal point of the painting. My palette's a bit too wet, so dry it up with some tissue. Dry up the excess water, and I've got brown paint on my brush. Oh dear. Okay, there we go. It happened. Okay, so thick mix, phthalo blue, alizarin crimson. I've got some scrap paper here so I can test it. Yeah, I mean that's perhaps a little bit too strong. So, and then we're going to have like that. You see how I'm using that side and that corner of the brush to get these marks. So this is really difficult. So I recommend you practice painting this tree several times on some scrap paper, and you want the branches or whatever to come out quite far. If they don't come out far enough, it doesn't look very good. And that's a nice looking tree, so I'm happy with that. We could do some darker paint mix under here for shadow, and I might try that on the final painting, but this is good enough for now. This is a good place to start, so let's go for that. So I have to think it's going to be slightly bigger than what I've just done. You need to have a rough idea of what you're going to paint before you paint it, especially with trees. So I don't want it exactly there, hitting that point. That's not so good. Maybe about here. So I want this to get slightly thicker, like that. And I want this mix to be quite thick. And I'm scrunching my brush up. And here we go. Yeah. So it has to be fairly wide. And then we're going to have little branches come out like this. That's too thick, but we can hide that. So don't worry about thick branches. We can hide them like that. Now that one is looking really good. And yet we'll hide this branch. There we go. And I want to connect there. You always want to make things look irregular. And we want these lovely gaps. So I said irregular, so this one's got to come out a bit more. And I think here we can have a gap. See that? A little gap here, big gap here. It's very irregular. And there we go. That's a really good looking tree. I'm happy with that. Maybe connect there a bit. There we go. We could try and make it darker underneath, so I'm going to do a super thick mix. I'm not sure if this is really going to show, but just a few touches. And I don't think it's really showing, but let's keep going. There we go. And now we're going to paint the grass. Okay, here we go. So now let's do the grass. So this is a more watery mix. Already this has dried a bit too much, so we can try and spray. It helps a little. And I'm going to do quite a purpley mix, because cool means distant and purple or reddish means warm and near. So in general, it doesn't work perfectly, but in general. So you can see that's quite warm, that's cool. That's cool, that's far, this is warm, this is near. And this is really good thing to learn about. Oh, that grass is looking really good. So you want to like be pushing up like that, and really don't worry about your hairs, damaging your hairs, because you probably are, but it's really important to get this grass effect. And this is a cheap brush, it's strong, it can take it, it's going to last quite a long time, but nothing's meant to last forever, so really give your brush a hard time. Really push it. And then as we come down here, I want to make this super dark. This is a trick I often do. It goes from lighter to darker. It just gives it a bit more of a feeling of perspective. Yeah, and this looks quite nice. This darkness I didn't really work on the tree. Just wipe it out a bit with your finger. Oh, those little lines with my fingernail. Quite like that. That's a new thing. You're always learning, so be open-minded as you're painting. Now this is where we need to spray because it's drying out too quickly. Also, it can add texture, which is wonderful. And there we go. Don't overdo this. So what I'm going to do now is, it's still quite wet, I'm going to do some little thick, real thick mix here and really dark. So good balance of blue and red. And then I'm going to have here some rocks. There were actually some rocks here, I believe, but I'm in the real place. But maybe I'm adding a lot more than I originally saw. And then it's fingernail time. That's good. And I'm just... And sometimes I'm using the front of my fingernail, and sometimes I'm using the side for a thin line. The reason is you want this contrast, you know, between thick and thin. It really adds to your painting. Now the one problem here that I can see now is that I'm going to get carried away with this because it's a lot of fun. One of the important things is timing with this fingernail practice. If you do it too soon, it will just, the white bit will just get like disappear again into the wet paint. If you do it too late, you won't be able to scrape the paint off. It will have dried. So you just develop bit by bit a feeling for the right time. The hardest thing in watercolor painting, and also the most important thing, is timing. You'll just develop a feeling for the right time. And yeah, that's okay. Maybe I haven't connected these rocks very well, but it's good enough. And maybe I've done a few too many, but still, as a whole, I think it's quite a nice painting. So, next thing. Now, as it stands, this is a good painting and we could finish here, but you might want here to do some blades of grass. So what we could do first of all is with our fingernail is just indicate some light marks, scrape out some light marks like that. Oh, that thin line was nice, yeah, I like that. So I've got this at the perfect time. That's partly by accident, and what we want to do now is maybe just flick up, yeah, like that. It's very bold. Bold is good, bold is always good, but can be very difficult to achieve boldness in watercolor painting. It's amazing how quickly you get timid and then it doesn't work. And then the next thing is you don't want to do too many strokes, and I don't like those two together like that. Doesn't look natural. So I'm thinking, how can I break that up? Maybe like that. There. So it's not perfect, but you can see I broke up that symmetry. Symmetry, like here as well, will kill your painting. But it's very, we just naturally do things in a symmetrical way, and it just automatically it's there, and so you have to always try and stop that. And of course those strokes aren't as nice as these ones, but there you go. We might do a few more like that, and that's it. So these strokes here, maybe I might try and make them a bit wider. Okay. Come on. No, it's not doing what I want, but it's good enough. It's good enough. So why we do these big blades of grass in the foreground here is it just gives it a little bit more perspective. I've done too much there. I should have done fewer blades of grass. So you have a go and see if you can do a bit fewer. And see what it looks like. So we've finished it, and as you can see, it's a lovely painting and it's got a lovely feeling, and we've basically learnt to paint a simple sky, but a nice sky with some lovely light. We've done like a distant mountain with mist at the bottom, which normally happens. We exaggerate a bit in paintings, but it's fun and it looks better. And then we've painted a fir tree, a lovely looking fir tree, and look how well it turned out. And then we practiced doing grass and rocks, and then big blades of grass here. So a lot of things to do in this painting, but things that if you master them will be such wonderful things to be able to use in future paintings. So have a go and happy painting.